Hands of Steel 2000. Welcome to the Longhorn State, a home game in the rink of the Dallas Stars. Tonight's game features the Buffalo Sabres versus the Dallas Stars. No points on the line, but pride is with this exhibition matchup. Both teams step onto the ice to begin their warm-up. The teams line up for the playing of the national anthem. The game is underway with the drop of the puck. Schmelik. He rushes up on the left wing. Hull. Hatcher. Dallas. Passes it to the goalie. The ref stops the play for a faceoff. Sabres. Huda carries it into his own zone. Fires it on the fly. Save! Groshek carries it into his own zone. Buffalo pounces on a sloppy pass. Sabres. He rushes up on the left wing. Wright takes over control of the puck. Wasn't looking for it. Dallas fires it on the fly, gets a pad on it. Sabres skating in his own zone. Fires it on the fly, save. Wright skating in his own zone. Robs him of the puck. Langenbrunner pounces on a sloppy pass. Backhander fires it on the fly, gets a pad on it. Sador fires it from the blue line, gets a pad on it. Warrener skating in his own zone. Ward winds up, fires it on the fly, save. Can't pick up the puck. Hasek takes over control of the puck. Cunnyworth. Zubov takes over control of the puck. Sador, Wright, carries it into his own zone. Fires it on the fly. Cruz. Warrener. Cruz carries it into his own zone. Langenbrunner fires it on the fly. Gets a pad on it. Warrener, Buffalo, carries it into his own zone. Robs him of the puck. Can't pick up the puck. Sabres snaps it from the slot. Gets a pad on it. Zubov carries it into his own zone. Cruz fires it on the fly, gets a pad on it. Gets a pad on it. Chambers skating in his own zone. Blows by him. Fires it on the fly. Too high. Save! And the goalie hangs on for a whistle. Robs him of the puck. Pekka carries it into his own zone. Robs him of the puck. He rushes up on the left wing. Fires it on the fly. Save. Hatcher setting up in the defensive zone. Marshall has the puck on it. Blasts it from the blue line. Woolley skating in his own zone. Shatan. Matvichuk takes over control of the puck. Marshall setting up in the defensive zone. Dallas can't. Fires it from the left. He shoots. He scores! To take the lead. Marshall scores the goal. One to nothing. The Dallas Stars. 4:29 left in the first period. Sabres. Schmelik. Buffalo setting up in the defensive zone. Stars. Fires it from the left. Modano gets a pad on it. The ref stops the play for a face-off. Ray, Cruz, Ray setting up in the defensive zone. Woolley, Huda, Buffalo, Sabres. Ray, Cruz, Ray, Woolley, Buffalo carries it into his own zone. Fires it on the fly, gets a pad on it. The ref stops the play for a face-off. Sabres. McKee passes the puck. Backhander. Buffalo gets ready to shoot. Fires it on the fly. Gets a pad on it. Sabres takes over control of the puck. McKee passes the puck. Shatan passes the puck. Passes. Fires it on the fly. Save. Verbeek setting up in the defensive zone. Fires it on the fly. Gets a pad on it. Shatan carries it into his own zone. Warrener. Buffalo setting up in the defensive zone. Robs him of the puck. Can't pick up the puck. He rushes up on the left wing. Winds up. Fires it on the fly. It's in the net. That puts them on top. Pat Verbeek scores the goal. Carbonneau assisted on the play. Matvichuk with the second assist.
Stars
2-0. The Dallas Stars. 2-6 left in the first period. Sabres wasn't looking for it. Grosek fires it on the fly. Gets a pad on it. Skrudland. Zubov carries it into his own zone. Keane fires it from the blue line. Save! Sanderson Buffalo. Stars. Sador. Dallas passes the puck. Stars. Skates around looking for someone to pass. Drills it. Save!
1 minute remaining.
Robs him of the puck.
Period.
Sanderson. Robs him of the puck. Hull. Wasn't looking for it. He passes. Fires it on the fly. Gets ready to shoot. Cunningworth. Holzinger. Buffalo carries it into his own zone. Sabres. Cross-ice pass. Ward. Hull takes over control of the puck. And the whistle sounds to end the opening period. We begin period number 2. Cruz. Cross-ice pass. Belfour takes over control of the puck. Modano. Dallas. Stars. Can't pass with all the traffic around. Chambers. Gets ready to shoot. Slap shot. Too hot. Gets a pad on it. Warrener. Ray. Buffalo carries it into his own zone. Stars takes over control of the puck. Hatcher setting up in the defensive zone. Chaton carries it into his own zone. Buffalo fires it on the fly. Goal! Miroslav Chaton scores the goal. Warrener assisted on the play. Mike Pekka with the second assist.
Sabres
2-1. The Dallas Stars. 8:51 remaining in the second period. Sabres passes it to the other side. Woolley. He rushes in on the right wing. Fires it on the fly. Gets a pad on it. Plant carries it into his own zone. Sador can't pass with all the traffic around. Can't pick up the puck. The Stars have control of the puck. The defenseman unloads it on the net. Gets a pad on it. Woolley skating in his own zone. Huda carries it into his own zone. Barnes. Groshek robs him of the puck. Plant carries it into his own zone. Winds up. Fires it on the fly. Save! Groshek passes the puck. Verbeek pounces on a sloppy pass. Huda blows by him. Zubov takes over control of the puck. Dallas. Stars. Robs him of the puck. Ward skating in his own zone. Cunningworth. Holzinger. Fires it on. Rebound. He shoots. Rebound. Shot. Marshall pounces on a sloppy pass. Warrener setting up in the defensive zone. Keane. He has the puck and he can really fly. Cruz. Buffalo passes the puck. Sabres skating in his own zone. Cruz. Ray. Buffalo. Stars takes over control of the puck. Zhitnik. Chambers. Fires it on the fly. Gets a pad on it. Skrudland skating in his own zone. Dallas Stars. Gets ready to shoot. The defenseman unloads it on the net. Huda setting up in the defensive zone. Barada fires it on the fly. Save. Stars setting up in the defensive zone. Huda, Barada skating in his own zone. Skrudland, pusher. Pekka takes over control of the puck. Barada fires it on the fly. Chambers setting up in the defensive zone. He rushes in on the right wing. Robs him of the puck. Huda, Buffalo, setting up in the defensive zone. Gets ready to shoot. Fires it on the fly. Winds up. Red lights. That puts them on top. Mike Modano scores the goal. Chambers assisted on the play.
Stars.
3-1. The Dallas Stars. 3:44 remaining in the second period. Sabres. Warrener. Grosek. Buffalo passes the puck. Sabres. Warrener. McKee. Buffalo. Sabres. Robs him of the puck. Right. Can't pick up the puck. Winds up. Fires it on the fly. Sanderson. Grosek. Setting up in the defensive zone. Sanderson takes over control of the puck. Buffalo. Sabres. Zubov takes over control of the puck. Robs him of the puck. Holzinger. Warrener fires it on the fly. Too high. Gets a pad on it. The ref stops the play for a face-off. Ray. Woolley. Cruz. Fires it on the fly. Stars. Carries it into his own zone. Fires it on the fly. Gets a pad on it. Keane setting up in the defensive zone. Fires it on the fly. Rebound. Shot. Save. Fires the rebound. Brown setting up in the defensive zone. The Sabres have control of the puck. He has speed on the left side. Marshall takes over control of the puck. Dallas skating in his own zone. Stars. Snaps it from the slot. Off the post. Chaton setting up in the defensive zone. Barada passes the puck.
1 minute remaining
Skrudland.
in the second period.
Marshall fires it on the fly. Save! Chaton. Warrener. Buffalo skating in his own zone. Sabres. Can't pick up the puck. Barada carries it into his own zone. He rushes in on the right wing. Skrudland. Dallas setting up in the defensive zone. Stars. Snaps it from the slot. Gets a pad on it. Barada setting up in the defensive zone. The final seconds tick off the clock as the second period ends. Play is underway in the third period. Chaton. Lettinen. Hull skates around looking for someone to pass to. Fires it on the fly. McKean carries it into his own zone. Warrener. He has speed on the left side. Zoop. Robs him of the puck. Sanderson skating in his own zone. Buffalo Sabres setting up in the defensive zone. Obstruction, high sticking penalty. Lehtinen. Buffalo has the man advantage. Pekka.
Penalty.
Barada
High sticking.
fires it. Feeds it back to the goalie. The ref stops the play for a face-off. Robs. Gets a pad on it. Modano. Robs. Fires it on the fly. Gets a pad on it. And the goalie hangs on for a whistle. Grosek. Neuendijk carries it into his own zone. Dallas skates around looking for someone to pass to. Stars. Huda takes over control of the puck. Pusher fires it from the blue line. Save! Huda. Buffalo setting up in the defensive zone. Sabres skating in his own zone. Huda passes the puck. Sanderson passes the puck. Fires it on the fly. Save! And the goalie hangs on for a whistle. Robs him of the puck. Carbonneau carries it into his own zone. Blasted from the blue line. Save! And the goalie hangs on for a whistle. Shatan. Schmelik carries it into his own zone. Zhitnik carries it into his own zone. Shatan can't handle the puck. Schmelik carries it into his own zone. Back to even strength. One man's out of the box. Fires it on the fly. Zhitnik passes the puck. Barada passes the puck. Shatan passes the puck. Can't pick up the puck. Matvechuk setting up in the defensive zone. Robs him of the puck. Langenbrunner robs him of the puck. Barada skating in his own zone. The Stars have control of the puck. Fires it on the fly. Gets a pad on it. Rebound. Shot. Save! The ref stops the play for a face-off. Ray. Buffalo Sabres skating in his own zone. Ray wasn't looking for it. Huda setting up in the defensive zone. Robs him of the puck. Carbonneau carries it into his own zone. Dallas has the puck on a string. Winds up. Slap shot. Stars passes the puck. Backhander. Fires it from the blue line. Gets a pad on it. Cruz can't pass with all the traffic around. Marshall takes over control of the puck. Keane carries it into his own zone. Fires it on the fly. Keane setting up in the defensive zone. Marshall carries it into his own zone. Fires it on the fly. Shatan setting up in the defensive zone. Warrener. Barada. Buffalo passes the puck. Passes it to the other side. Warrener takes over control of the puck. Barada carries it into his own zone. Shatan gets ready to shoot. Fires it on the fly. Gets a pad on it. McKean takes over control of the puck. Robs him of the puck. Skrudland carries it into his own zone. Hatcher fires it from the blue line. Save! Barnes carries it into his own zone. He rushes in on the right wing. Fires it on the fly. Save! Marshall, Dallas, carries it into his own zone. Stars skates around looking for someone to pass to. Schmelik skating in his own zone. Hatcher pounces on a sloppy pass. Cross-ice pass. Robs him of the puck. Skrudland, Dallas, carries it into his own zone. Sabres takes over control of the puck. Ward has the puck on a string. Cunneyworth fires it on the fly. Gets a pad on it. Holzinger takes over control of the puck. Huda setting up in the defensive zone. Fires it on the fly. Save. Ward takes over control of the puck. Keane setting up in the defensive zone. He has speed on the left side. Fires it from the blue line. Too high. Ray. Buffalo passes the puck. The Sabres have control of the... Blasts it! Save! Stars skating in his own zone.
1 minute remaining.
Fires it on the fly. Save! Ray skating in his own zone. He has speed on the left side. Robs him of the puck. Marshall skating in his own zone. Hatcher fires it from the blue line. Wasn't looking for it. He has speed on the left side. Fires it on the fly. Save. Rebound. Shot. Save. Modano skating in his own zone. Feeds it to the right. That wraps up the game. Won by the Dallas Stars. The Stars showed great poise to get the win. That wraps up tonight's broadcast of the game. For all of us at Konami Sports, I'm Randy Hahn. So long, everybody.